All right, thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making major headlines. And we will be beginning with the Nation newspaper. And the major story here, subsidy, APC governors back federal government as NLC threatens strike. TUC defers action, presents demands to government Sunday. Why we won't fix petrol prices again by agency. Federal government scraps Petroleum Equalization Fund, National Transport Allowance. All right, minimum wage must reflect reality, says Tinubu. Tinubu appoints Akume SGF for Gbajabiamila Chief of Staff. Hadejia is Deputy Chief of Staff. We didn't witness all cases of electoral infraction. Atiku PDP's witnesses tell Tribunal. These are some of the major headlines, but who has what story here?
I have a story in The Nation on page 11. And the story says that death sentence on Hilton Hotel owner, my happiest day since my husband's death. Widow of murdered OAU postgraduate student. So we would recall that about 2 years ago, there was a story of an OAU postgraduate student being murdered in a hotel in Ife. I followed the story really closely because, you know, I'm an alumni of OAU. So I felt that this could have been somebody I knew, right? And so the story went on, you know, different people speaking about this case and all that. And for a while, it looked silent, like nothing was happening. And in the papers today, I get to see that the perpetrators were brought to book and they had been sentenced to death by hanging. And it's unfortunate because the person who committed this crime is a very prominent person in Ife. If you ever went to Ife, OAU, or you've just been around, you know the popular Hilton Hotel.
Absolutely.
And so the widow of the person who died said today, or since, she's not been happy since, you know, her husband's death. So she hearing the news, she said she was in church when the news came and she was really, really joyful, although she cried so bitterly and she was just wishing that, you know, her husband was there. Maybe she was going to hear somehow that her husband came back to life, but it gave her some kind of peace, knowing fully well that...
Closure.
And also some confidence in the judiciary.
You know, that's it. It's because someone of his status, one wouldn't expect that kind of sentencing.
Exactly.
That he will get that kind of sentencing. But we see that the judiciary has taken a step further, and you know, this reposes confidence on the people towards them that
I think I have a story in the Nation too. It's okay. I'll read out the headline. It's physically challenged Imo official. I was abused by some Nigerian pilgrims for returning $1.2 million I found in Israel to the owner. So this man, his name is Dr. Samuel Mehibe, is a special advisor to the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma. So he and other, some people in the States were sponsored on, you know, a pilgrimage to Israel. Okay. And you know, on his way, you know, when they were clearing their bags, they found a bag, you know, filled with money. He didn't realize it was money, but he was just trying to help the guy who lost the bag because he had children. You know, traveling with children can be hectic. You're traveling with kids and carrying bags, and then one of the bags fell, and he ensured, he was even calling the guy, and he was not really he wasn't responding. You know, that feeling of, do I know you from anywhere? But at the end of the day, he was able to return the bag, and the guy was so grateful to say, this money was for a transaction. I don't know what I would have, you know, done, you know, and then he took pictures with him, and then he was actually, you know, celebrated. But the people who actually went with him were causing, they were making him feel like a fool for returning $1.2 million. Like, why would you do that? Why didn't you give us to hide it for you? I mean, this is somebody's money. This goes to show how the integrity of the average Nigerian has been affected due to the impact of the economic issues that we have in the country. So, but with this man's story, it just goes to show that it's your conscience first, your values and your morals. How were you raised? Because he could have taken the money and then he would have been so troubled, wondering how the owner of the money would have been feeling. But then to him, according to him, he said his conscience felt clear and he was glad that he did that.
Sometimes it's not about how you were raised, it's just your personal decision. Some persons were raised right, morals, everything, but society, influence, pressure, everything
economic
just,
issues,
you know, just influences them and they change their minds. But I have two stories here that I want us to touch quickly before I move. So on page 2 of the Nation newspaper, the police rather in Bauchi State arrested a man who raped his daughter, 10-year-old daughter. The man is 33 years.
What?
It was reported that he lured her and gave her a drink, and it is suspected that he laced the drink with something to knock the girl off, and then he raped her, and the girl has some internal injuries as it is right now. She's in the hospital. And it begs the question of how a father, you look at your daughter,
his own biological daughter, or adopted.
even if it's not your daughter, right? Even if it's not your daughter, a 10-year-old, what attracted you to her? Yes, we hear there are diabolical sides to all of such things that people do, but then, do you have a conscience? Where is your conscience? What spurred you to do that kind of thing? Because the state she is now, she's scarred for life. Nothing you do will heal her totally, will bring back the closure that she needs to heal over time. It will take a lot to get her back to be stable.
And to think she was actually hurt by someone
closest to her.
Exactly.
Who's
supposed to be her, her shield, her confidence. I don't know how she's going to cope.
It's a sad one.
It's a very, very sad one.
Was it a court case or something?
No, the police arrested him, and so the matter is still on. Still carrying out investigation. He confessed to doing it actually when he was arrested. So
he blamed the devil, right?
Well, he didn't blame the devil. He didn't blame the devil, but it's a really sad one. We move quickly now to Saturday Punch, and the major story here: subsidy. Federal government considers wage review as Labour begins strike Wednesday. NLC demands reversal of fuel price. TUC meets federal government Sunday. Give president a chance, allow deregulation. Manufacturers Association of Nigeria tells the Nigeria Labour Congress. I'll keep my virginity to inspire other girls. The Taraba ex-copper is speaking. The Forgotten Five, families of abducted funeral guests wait in vain 3 years after. Fans celebs excited as somebody's son finds Tiwa Savage. Ondo inaugurates 10th Assembly today. Lagos Benue wind down. Gbajabiamila resumes as Tinubu's Chief of Staff June the 14th. Auxiliary declared wanted 11 pistols recovered in hotel. Who has a story here on the front page? I
have a story on page 22.
Yep. And
it says how Ogun State students committed suicide after losing school fees to sporting bets.
Okay.
And so the story goes on to say that Adegoke, a 200-level student of electrical engineering at Federal Polytechnic Ilaro, bought an insecticide from a patent medicine store after losing his school fees to those of his friends to an online betting company. So this guy wasn't just betting with his school fees. He would take his roommate's phones, transfer money, use the money to bet. So there were 2 instances. And the shocking thing is that Samuel was from a royal family. And at some point, the matter got to the school authorities. They escalated it to his parents. And his parents said they don't have money and all that. And this guy goes out on a random morning and goes to buy this insecticide and drinks and...
Because he couldn't refund the money. You see, these are the issues that a lot of persons have been talking about, regulations with regards to betting and all of it, because some people do not know when to stop. And it becomes an addiction for them. We need to quickly go on a commercial break. When we return, we'll continue looking through the newspapers. Do stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. We're still looking through the newspaper headlines, and we still have the Punch newspaper that we're looking through. And just one quick story I have here on the Punch newspaper. It has been reported that over 3,000 nurses and midwives, 3,383 of them, trained in Nigeria, have been recruited in the UK, as in they have moved
AKA jackpot.
to the UK, and that data is coming from the National Council for Nurses and Midwives. They were the ones giving that report, and we would recall that WHO sometime in March listed Nigeria and about 54 other countries as some of the countries that are having workforce challenges when it comes to the matter of health care. And we keep witnessing the numbers dwindling on a yearly basis, in fact, on a monthly basis. And you look at our population, you wonder, how are we going to cope? How are we going to deal with matters of health care when we keep losing this number of qualified persons? When you talk about midwives, you talk about nurses, they are not the number of years for you to get qualified here and then you lose them. It's something to be worried about, and I'm hoping that something is done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think it's a wake-up call for the authorities to begin to see ways of, encouraging them majorly to stay. It might be in form of better remuneration, greater welfare, and just maybe ensuring that things are generally better for them. Maybe things that other people would spend money on, they can have access to those things for free. So, for example, education of their children can be a reason why they can decide to stay back.
Right, your story, Damola.
Okay, yes, I have a funny story in The Punch. It says, serial phone thief caught fast asleep in church. So this guy has been doing it for years. That is his area of specialization, churches. He just goes there to steal phones. But unfortunately, this one, when he embarked on the last operation, he fell asleep immediately he got into the church. Immediately.
Anointing knocked him out.
Exactly. Yes. The anointing finally arrested him, and he could not actually carry out the operation because he fell asleep. But then, because of his history as a serial phone thief, when he woke up, the church had finished the service, and then it was just, okay, while he was wondering, oh, this was a futile exercise today, he got arrested by the police, who already identified him as a serial phone thief because several churches had reported him before then. So Karma just, nabbed him when he had not even done anything. So the story is just very funny to me that you did not even get anything on this particular operation. Now the ones that you've done in the past have now come to haunt you. I just love
but it also goes to show how the fact that when you go to a church, people just, feel that everybody, we are here for the same thing, but that's not the case.
Absolutely.
There are those who have sinister motives, just come there to take advantage of people who are trusting the environment that they are in, that we are all the same. Meanwhile, we are not all the same at the end of the day. Anyway, let's move now to the Saturday Sun. And the major story here, Senate Presidency Kalu Yari Akpabio is also in final push. New alliance between Northwest, Southeast senators-elect rattles Akpabio's camp. And Ohaneze to APC, zoning Deputy Speaker to Southeast, provocative, disgusting. How billions spent on Nigeria Air went down the drain, stakeholders are reacting. Atiku PDP witnesses alleged manipulation of results in Niger, Borno, Ebonyi. Obi Labour Party tender results from 6 small states, 109 local government areas. Why we met Tinubu, Makinde, Wike, Ibori speaking. Then fresh leadership crisis rocks APC. National Working Committee member accuses Adamu of leading party to political suicide. Tinubu assures of better minimum wage. Fuel subsidy removal. NLC goes on strike on Wednesday. Who has what story here?
I have a story on page 5 that says, fun, excitement as New Testament Assembly celebrates Children's Day. So, in the course of last week, I saw different videos, pictures of both churches and schools celebrating Children's Day. And I think that this particular year, they went over and beyond, the normal status quo of Children's Day. They did a lot more things. They were more innovative. And seeing this again blows my mind to say that a church would actually call press to give a report on their Children's Day. So kudos to every church out there, every religious organization who took time out to really, really concentrate on children this year.
Okay. Do you have a story here?
No, I don't.
Not at all. All right, we'll move quickly now to the Saturday Tribune. Oh, you still have a story there? Okay. Saturday Tribune now. Fuel price hike. Transport fares go up nationwide. Commuters groan. NLC fixes strike for Wednesday. Fuel price increase violates Appropriation Act. Experts are speaking. Tinubu picks Akume as SGF. Gbajabiamila as Chief of Staff. Promises to review minimum wage. Tribunal dismisses petition against Makinde's election. Tension in Ondo. Assembly over attempt to remove Speaker will break cycle of attacks in Plateau. Governor Mutfwang speaking there. Police declare ex-Oyo Park management leader auxiliary wanted. Court finally sacks IU as PDP national chairman. Senate presidency group asks Akpabio not to compare himself with Tinubu. Any story here?
No, I don't have a story. Apart from, if we want to discuss the, the hike in transport fares since the fuel crisis started, prices are really, in fact, they have tripled.
It's expected.
Yes, it's just so sad that, you cannot even predict what can happen the next day in Nigeria. You wake up, you go to bed thinking...
I'm surprised people are shocked that is happening.
Yeah,
you know where you are. This is Nigeria, and you know how we react to things.
Yeah, but to a certain extent, you just have like a plan for the week. Like, okay, this is what I'm budgeting for the week on transportation. And then you've started Monday, Tuesday well. And then Wednesday you wake up
all of a sudden.
and you're paying...
Of course, it's just like when you are driving on Lagos roads and you know that you need to plan for traffic.
Traffic, exactly.
So whatever it is, once you're living in Nigeria, it is expected that you make plans. Yes, you may not have the
but this kind
funds.
of hike is like triple.
You can't. You will not blame them.
Nigerians would adjust.
Yeah, at some point.
You still adjust.
At some point.
No, what do you expect them to do?
Yeah. That's why there's this narrative that if you can survive Nigeria, you can survive anywhere. Because
absolutely.
That Nigeria puts you on your toes every time. You have to be creative on the spot every time. Yeah. So I hope they can resolve the fuel crisis issues on time. I believe that the fuel subsidy removal is a great move. At least it would help us to channel the resources into the development of healthcare, education, and all of that. But it's just that the execution needs to be perfected so that, the average Nigerian can be, considered in...
But that's what the president has said. He's channeling that into education, into healthcare, and all of it.
Yeah.
But the concern for some other persons is that channel it should be ensured that it is insulated from every form of corruption.
Yeah,
and that people see that they benefit from the removal of fuel subsidy, that we walk the talk and not just talk, but see that what we promised is being done.
Exactly. And of course, execution strategies to ensure that the effects are properly cushioned.
That's what I just said. Yeah. So that everyone, every Nigerian feels the impact, because everybody is feeling the pinch of, that's why I'm really not talking about fuel subsidy as it is. It is here,
There's a
whether we
ripple
like
effect on other...
There's a ripple effect. Feeding, talk about house rent, talk about everything. Everything is affected by this price hike. So it's like talking about it is reminding yourself. Recall earlier I was talking about protecting your peace of mind. Yeah. So recalling it or talking about it oftentimes is reminding yourself that there are issues before you. So as much as possible, you plan. And you know it is here. Fuel subsidy is removal is here. But you do not have to dwell on it as much as possible. Rather, think critically on how to navigate through the moment while government is looking at how to cushion the effect of the removal. In the papers, we saw the president talking about the minimum wage. He has said it should reflect the realities. Now, how we would achieve that is left to the government. Yeah. But while you are waiting for government to do that, what are your plans? That's the issue. Let's move now to Saturday Vanguard now. Subsidy removal, NLC plans nationwide action. Tinubu will review minimum wage, manage inherited liabilities. Marketers set for another fuel price hike. Obasaki, this museum can transform Edo into Africa's tourism culture hub. Tinubu appoints Akume SGF, Gbajabi Amila Chief of Staff. Baja to quit as lawmaker before resumption on June the 14th, when President Macron's presidential jet landed in Ilorin. Now, Presidential Tribunal will tenders 136 exhibits from Lagos, Edo, 4 other states, as court adjourns further hearing till Monday. Ibori Wike Makinde in Villa to support Tinubu. Buhari mistakes Tinubu must avoid. Buhari's mistakes Tinubu must avoid, Nigerians are speaking. Lagos, more questions as government police move to demolish 20 barracks. Ugoji Egujo, effectively, Jagaban has taken 2 mad bulls by the horn. Any story here?
I don't have a story there.
You don't have a story here. But I think this is where I have the story talking about if trust is a deal breaker in your relationship. You know that for many, trust is the foundation of any relationship for them. Yes, it's part of the foundation of any relationship. And so the writer was talking about how it is that some persons see trust as a deal breaker if you do not have the capacity to deliver on trust. Once you're in a relationship with someone, you want to feel safe. You want to, what's the essence of even being in the relationship?
You can't trust.
If you can't feel safe, if you don't trust, if you are not showing responsibility to trust and to show that you can be trusted. So basically, that was what they were looking at when it comes to, is trust a deal breaker? But is trust a deal breaker for you?
Yes, because if I...
I know that. You start squeezing at me. We need to go on break, John.
What would I do?
Toby was waiting for me. Anyway, we'll take a break. When we return, we'll look at our hot topic. To stay with us.